The Tempest, one of the most magical plays ever written by Shakespeare, is enlivened by this rich and talented crew.
We're doing William Shakespeare's The Tempest, a play that was first performed in 1611 in London, and we're bringing it here to Doha, and we're making the play a little bit more accessible for our expatriate and Qatari audience. The play concerns, it starts with a storm, a tempest, which drives a ship onto some rocks, and then there are survivors on the beach. Prospero, who is the sole inhabitant on the island with his daughter, Miranda, have conjured up this storm to bring some of his old enemies to him so that he can, in fact, have a form of revenge. This is what this is. It's a revenge drama, but with a happy ending. The survivors from the storm wander around the island until ultimately they are drawn towards Prospero's camp, and he challenges them all. He confronts them with all their sins and their mistakes. There is a wonderful scene of redemption, and in the end we have the promise of a marriage between Prospero's daughter and the Prince of Naples, and that is the end of the play. It's a comedy. And we have certainly some comic acts within it.
I've seen such islanders, posterities. These are people of the island who, though they are of such monstrous shape, note their manners are more gentle, kind, and of a human generation you shall find many.
Rehearsals of scenes commenced in September of 2015 and continued for over 2 months. Scenes that had mostly occurred on an island where Prospero, the Duke of Milan, and his daughter were banished are now being brought to life on a Qatari stage for the very first time.
It was that to say so, with good life and observation strange, my meaner ministers, there's several kinds of done. My high charms work, and these mine enemies are all knit up in their distractions. They now are in my power, and in these fits, I leave them while I visit young Ferdinand, whom they suppose is drowned, and his and mine love dark. I, Prospero, was abandoned on this island when my brother overthrew me and took my kingdom from me. And here I was left with my daughter, who was just a baby. I have raised her, and we have done well because my good friend Gonzalo have given us a few things that would help us, like food and clothing. But now I find that my brother is on his way to this island, and I have caused a massive shipwreck. So I plan to exact revenge and take my dukedom back. Our fire, no. Let me get that strong. Look thou be true. Do not give dalliance too much the reins. The strongest oaths are straw to the fire in the blood. Be more abstemious, or else...
Interestingly, the role of Prospero's character is performed by a female actress who describes the challenges she faced in fulfilling the various dimensions of this complex role.
Presently, Ariel, bring a corollary rather than want a spirit. Come and pertly. Appear and pertly. No tongue or life. Be silent.
I first started acting about 14 years ago, and since then I worked a lot with the Doha Players in various shows that they did, and then I went to the UK to study drama, and coming back from that I wanted to contribute some of that to the Doha Players, some of the skills that I had learned and picked up. I've directed a few shows, and I've also acted in bits here and in the UK. So for this show, when I first saw it advertised, I love Shakespeare, and I really wanted to be on stage for that, for a change, because the last Shakespeare I was involved in, I was directing it. And I find that it's a really good opportunity to stretch your ability, because it's such complex and rich language. You really have to have a good grasp on acting to be able to successfully put on a performance of it.
Antonio and Sebastian will help each other out, but it makes no sense for them to help the king. You got to come and help the king. You can't.
There's nothing more I can do in 45 minutes, okay? And that way we can...
The concept. Dr. Kim and I came up with this idea that The Tempest would be a great play for Doha because it deals with forgiveness, arranged marriages, reconciliation, terror, magic, all the elements of a play that we encounter sometime in our lives. We all have the same types of fears and ambitions that some of the characters in the play have gone through as well. It also deals with a very strong father figure and a daughter who has never seen other people except her father and the monster Caliban. And it's a coming of age. Symbolically, young people, as well as older people, always have new experiences. And how do they reconcile these experiences? How do they deal with it? How do they make sense of the world at any given moment? So the idea of splitting Ariel into two characters, one who has movement, one who has voice, one who has acting, one who has a light ballet type of presentation, was very important to the play.
Yeah, but I want to get them done. Yeah, of course.
What's this for? What class?
The chemistry between the crew members and the friendly atmosphere are undeniable.
You guys study about the Hawthorne effect?
It's all crazy. These people are insane.
The Hawthorne effect. What's that?
When the tension escalates due to increased intensity of rehearsals, the team members are creative in finding ways to alleviate it.
Apparently I'm not going to get any of this done.
What is that?
Sorry.
Is that marking?
How to snare the nimble marmoset, and I'll show the, bring them to blistering filberts. Sometimes I'll get the young scabbards from the law. Will thou go with me? Pretty, lead the way without any more talk.
Caliban is not only a very mentally challenging character because it is just a very, very sad and angry and disgruntled character, but also it's a very physically difficult task because Caliban is not a normal human. He is a son of a witch and a demon, so he has very different mannerisms and different ways of movement. Crouching, jumping around, running, hand movement, leg movement, it's all very, very difficult and very, very physically demanding. Also, I, as an overweight person, it's very difficult for me to, do all these movements. But I mean, it's exercise, so it's good.
We're fixing.
So it is going to kind of come off, right?
Yes.
So we can do the makeup down to
It's
the
coming off. Plus, we're going to trim this round in the front. We just
One bit's
removed-
just sticking into his neck.
Yeah,
Is
the
it?
Velcro was glued on and by rubber cement, and we had to slowly shave it off.
So that's it.
The most difficult costume we had to design, I think, was Caliban.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he has to look like a character that comes out of the mud. So he has to be the right colour and has to have all the kind of stuff that looks like mud stuck on him.
He actually is half witch, half demon. He's half human and half not from this earth. He's from the land, and he has skin problems. So you will see skin eczema on his face, which tapers down to his body, and he crawls out from the land. Costumes is not a general everyday wear thing, and you're creating things. And depending on the play, whether you've got mystical characters or you've got actual characters from particular eras, you have to do your research and then source your goods as you need them. And that's how that works.
ships I have swallowed and the frotting souls within her. Be collected. No more amazement.
As ere my mother brushed with raven's feather from unwholesome fen.
At this point, actors have rehearsals to run with costumes, so they get into character and get as many potential issues out of the way, since time is flying by before the actual show.
The Tempest is one of those things where you don't have to necessarily come to the end of your life, but you'll come to certain final points of any one important experience. So if the audience can get into that frame of mind, they will see the play as a culmination of many things in living, per se.
Final instructions and comments are given by the directors for the final touches before the countdown begins.
Throw lights at you, throw sound at you, everything, right? Just keep on going.
Do you think we'll have to do it several times so we can?
Yeah.
The day that everyone has been waiting for, including the anticipating audience, has finally arrived. This is a treat for the fans of Shakespeare in particular, and theater in general.
And then, in dreaming, the clouds we thought would open, and show riches ready to drop upon me. It's when I wake.
Last scene, it was very fun and a little bit nerve-wracking, but I quite enjoyed it. There were a lot of laughs. Yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. I'm sorry, I'm not the best at that.
I tended to write. All thy vexations were but my trials of thy love, and thou hast strangely stood the test. Here.
It was good so far. We were running around for the first act, so it was pretty tiring, but I had quite a little space to break and to rest.
The spectacular experience has come to an end. It is time for feedback.
I thought the play was visually really stunning, really unusual elements in the play. I thought Caliban was amazing, really physically energised. I loved the idea of having two aerials. I thought that added an ethereal quality to it. It's actually beautiful.
I really enjoyed it. It far exceeded my expectations. It was very nice, very entertaining.
It was a good night. Wonderful performance from our actors, and the audience was a little smaller than our first night, but they were very appreciative, and that's the most important thing. They seemed to enjoy themselves, they understood the humour and the pathos, and at the end, when they did their applause, there was a genuine outpouring of emotion.